You're listening to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Did you know that you could build a tax-free pool of wealth that's liquid and accessible all your life while building your retirement nest egg? Gain full control of your financial future and stop relying on the government and banks. The wealthy have already discovered this wealth-building secret. Now it's your turn to get financially secure without following the conventional wisdom that keeps you in debt to banks. Now here's your host, Valerie LaRocque.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Hope you had a great week. Today, I wanted to talk about your typical savings advice, or maybe more like savings versus investing. Although, of course, I will not be talking about investing because that is a huge compliance no-no. So I will not be talking specifically about that, but I wanted to go over really the differences between saving versus investing. So savings is money that you can't afford to lose. Money that you need safe and liquid. Whereas investments are assets at risk that come with the possibility of losing principal dollars. Investing should be done with dollars you are willing to put at some level of risk or that you can afford to lose, because you certainly can lose them. So in my opinion, every single dollar of your nest egg shouldn't be 100% at risk. That's my feeling anyway. I don't want that for myself. I don't want to depend on the market to return something for me with every single one of my nest egg dollars, or maybe not even very many of them. But I just feel like it's nice to have some level of guarantee on a portion, maybe a significant portion of your savings that you plan to use for the future, because you need to be building this ginormous nest egg so that you can feel confident, no longer working once you decide to retire, and you may not be working for many years. You may not be working almost as many years as you were working. And so that is quite a lot of money that you have to have in your retirement years to be able to afford the things that you need, especially since you don't know what your health risks are or if you're going to need something like assisted living. So that's why I don't really like to have so much of my money just completely at risk up and down with market volatility. In fact, I also don't think that when you say you're diversified, but maybe are 100% in the market, that you're really, truly diversified. I'd really prefer to be diversified with things also outside of just the market. And then that way you're able to actually diversify into things that are truly uncorrelated assets to the market. Uncorrelated assets are assets that do not move up and down with the market. And so you are able to put some of your money in other things that might come with the G word, guarantee. That is one of my favorite words, guarantee. So here's a question for you. Would you rather earn on what you're saving or on what you're spending? Certainly with the infinite banking concept, you will be earning on what you're saving into the asset of life insurance. But the cool thing is that you can also be earning on what you are spending. And that is very unique. As some of you may know, I am taking classes right now. I am always learning and continuing my education. I'm taking classes for my Chartered Financial Consultant designation. And I came across in my studies a statistic that said right now nearly half of Americans have less than $25,000 in savings. And 1 in 4 have less than $1,000 in savings. So basically, it's hard to save. Americans have a hard time saving. There's a lot of things we want, a lot of things we see out there. We're competing with our neighbor for the next coolest item on the market, a car, whatever. But if you could be earning on the money that you're spending, well, that is a game changer. So with infinite banking, all the money that's in your account you're earning on, but when you are spending that money, you can borrow against that account and you are still earning a guaranteed crediting rate and dividends on that whole pool of cash. So you're able to earn on the value of the dollars that you are spending on the things that you want, the things that you need, or the things that you would like to invest in. I got to say, it's a little easier to save large amounts when you have access to those dollars for things that you need or want. It's going to be a lot easier to save. The typical thing that we are taught is to just build and accumulate sufficient assets for retirement. But the thing that is not so commonly taught is to keep your money in motion, the power of keeping your money in motion like the banks do, and to treat yourself like you would the bank. And by doing this, by taking this action of building this pool of cash from which you will finance the things that you need, want, or want to invest in, you will actually end up growing a larger pool of money than the typical advice of simply just accumulating the money and letting it sit. When you keep your money in motion by doing what banks do rather than what they're telling you to do, they're telling you to let the money sit. And why? Because then they can use it to loan it out back to us or other people who need it. But by keeping your money in motion, you are going to be able to accumulate more resources to use later and also for your retirement years. And remember, when I'm saying to treat yourself like a bank, I mean to pay yourself back with interest like you would the bank and not just steal the peas from yourself. Steal from yourself and not pay yourself interest. Stealing the peas is from Nelson's book, if you've read it. But you just want to be an honest banker. Being an honest banker is going to be what truly helps your system be amazing. You are in control of your loans. You don't have to follow a strict payback guideline or rules. You're in full control. But treating yourself like an honest banker is just going to make your system all that much better. Another thing I came across recently was a quote from Albert Einstein where he says, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." I just really like that quote, but it kind of made me think about how much you have to save the older you get. So the younger you are, say from 25 to 35, in order to hit your savings goal, you would have to save between 10 and 13%. If you're between the ages of 35 and 45, you would have to save between 13 to 20% to be able to achieve your savings goal for retirement. And between the ages of 45 and 55, you would have to save somewhere between 20 and 40% of your annual income in order to achieve your savings goal for retirement. At age 25, an individual should be saving at least 10% to be able to meet their retirement goal. But all that just ties in with what Albert Einstein said about compound interest, because those who are saving younger are able to save less because they have more time for those funds to compound and grow. An interesting fact, $100,000 40 years ago now has a spending power of $30,656. That is a lot less than 100,000. And so small changes in the inflation rate can have a significant impact on your funding for retirement, because how much is that dollar amount that you're shooting for to be able to spend per year in retirement? How much will that actually buy you when you get there? Certainly the higher inflation rates we've been experiencing right now are not helping. But this is why I really just believe that you really should just be saving as much as you possibly can. And having to save money and then not be able to touch it till you're 59 and a half, or because it's reserved for retirement only, that is a harder thing to do because you have needs today. You have to purchase things today. You have to eat today. You have to pay for the roof over your head, for your children, for school, for all sorts of things. Our money is needed for things we need today, but we also have to be thinking about our future selves. And so saving as much as we can is important, but it makes it so much easier when you have access to those dollars and you're able to use them for things you need and then just replenish them by paying yourself back, by being an honest banker. And it's nice that while those dollars are flowing in and out of your system, you are earning guarantees and you're earning dividends on that money, even as you are using it for other things. In addition to inflation, the inflation rate having a significant impact on your future savings, small changes in an earning rate can also have a significant impact on your plan, which is just brings me back to the thought of universal life policies, because when those are illustrated, they are illustrated with a guaranteed column usually kind of a middle of the road interest column, and then a what if we're doing great column, something like the current rate or a projected rate. Sometimes they can put in whatever rate they want into those illustrations up to a certain amount. And so it may look great at that average rate if it consistently did whatever that was illustrated every single year going forward, but that doesn't happen. Illustrations are basically guaranteed not to happen. That's basically what illustrations are, because they're not going to be exactly like what you're looking at. So taking that illustration, that rate that might be illustrated for you on a universal life policy, and changing it just a little bit down in the other direction, in the down direction, you will see it has a significant impact on what will actually happen or what's projected to happen with those funds. And in addition, the policy has increasing costs inside as you age. And so that's another, I just don't like those policies. I just want to say it again. I don't like using those policies for infinite banking, and neither does the Nelson Nash Institute. They insist that whole life is the product that is used because it is safer and not at risk of lapsing in your older years. In summary, we really just need to be saving as much as we possibly can. When it comes to the infinite banking concept, the cool thing is that you're actually building a large pool of cash from which to finance your needs, your wants, your investment desires. If you want to pay off debt, that's oftentimes a priority for people. This process allows you to save a whole lot more because you have access to your cash, so that instead of just saving for the purpose of accumulation and building up a big pool, accumulating your cash in a big pile that is just supposed to be sitting there untouched until your golden years, you are able to flow your money like the banks do and keep your money in motion and be able to earn a guaranteed crediting rate, interest rate, and dividends on the money that you're spending. Now, I just will interject here that dividends are not guaranteed with any company. I know I've said it before. I just want to make that clear. They are not guaranteed, but the companies that we work with have never missed a dividend since inception of the company. And from what I've learned and seen over my near 20 years in the business, there is simply nothing more powerful. So if you would like to get started, if you would like to partner, if you'd like to work with me and for me to be your coach to help you through this and figure out what kind of strategy would be best for you and how you could implement the banking strategy into your life, banking policy for you, your family, I would love to help you and connect with you. You can feel free to reach out to me at Valerie@alphaomegawealth.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a great week. I will talk at you next time.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.